Martinelli to drive at Walker and set it back for Calafiori! Oh, it's a beauty!
After watching 5,000 minutes of Mikel Arteta's Arsenal this season, I need to tell you something that nobody's talking about. Everyone's celebrating Arsenal's lead at the top of the table. The media's calling them title favourites. Pundits are saying this is finally their year.
Absolutely brilliant. I think in terms of Arsenal, what they can do, they can win in any way. Yes, we've talked about the set pieces.
Even rival fans are grudgingly admitting that Arsenal look like champions. But here's the truth. Arsenal are about to collapse. And it's happening right now, in real time, and nobody sees it coming. After analysing every match, every tactical pattern, every late drama this season, I've discovered why Arsenal's 33-point lead is built on sand. And Saturday's defeat at Aston Villa wasn't a blip. It was the first crack in the dam. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Arsenal's title challenge is already over, even though they're still top of the table. Let's break it down. Let me show you where Arsenal actually are right now. First place in the Premier League with 33 points from 15 matches. 10 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. They've scored 29 goals, conceded just 9. On paper, those are elite numbers. But here's what happened last Saturday. Arsenal travelled to Villa Park, leading the league by 6 points. They were 11 games unbeaten. They hadn't lost since August 31st against Liverpool. Everything looked perfect. And then Emiliano Buendia scored in the 95th minute.
Sit down, still inside the penalty box. Yeah!
2-1. Arsenal's perfect run shattered. Their 6-point cushion? Now just 3 points with Manchester City breathing down their necks. But that's not what scares me. What scares me is the pattern. Before Villa, Arsenal drew 2-2 with Sunderland on November 8th. They were leading 2-1 with minutes to go. Then Brian Brobby scored an overhead kick in stoppage time. 2 points dropped. Before that, they drew 1-1 with Manchester City in September. Dominated in the match, couldn't close it out. And their only other loss? 1-0 to Liverpool at Anfield in August when they had half their squad injured. You see where this is going? Arsenal doesn't lose matches, they give them away. And that's so much worse. To understand Arsenal's problem, you need to know how this season started. In the summer, Arsenal finally went all in. They signed Victor Gyökeres for 85 million, Martin Zubimendi for 51 million, Noni Madueke, Eberichi Eze. This was the squad that was supposed to end 21 years of pain. And it started perfectly. 1-0 win at Old Trafford against Manchester United. Calafiori headed in from a corner. A statement away win at their biggest rivals. Then 5-0 against Leeds at home. Gyökeres scored his first Arsenal goal. Timber scored twice from corners. Saka was brilliant. Arsenal looked unstoppable. Then came the reality check. 0-1 loss at Liverpool. Saliba got injured in the 4th minute. Arsenal played with their 4th choice centre-back pairing and lost to a Szoboszlai free kick. Fair enough, you think? Liverpool away with half the team missing. Move on. But that's when the defensive run started that's been masking Arsenal's real problem. After Liverpool, Arsenal went on an insane defensive streak. 8 consecutive clean sheets in all competitions. They beat Nottingham Forest 3-0, drew 1-1 with City, beat Newcastle 2-1 away, crushed West Ham, Fulham and Crystal Palace without conceding. By early November, Arsenal had conceded just 3 goals in 10 Premier League games. David Raya was being talked about as player of the season. The defence looked impenetrable. And that's exactly why nobody saw the vulnerability. Here's what Arsenal have built this season, and why it's both brilliant and deeply flawed. Arteta's system is simple. Defend with your life, score from set pieces, control the game through possession. And statistically, it's been phenomenal. Arsenal have the best defensive record in the league. Only 9 goals conceded in 15 matches. That's title-winning form. But watch what happens when they don't score first. Against Sunderland, Arsenal conceded in the 36th minute. Dan Ballard, a former Arsenal academy player, smashed it past Raya. 1-0. Arsenal responded well. They dominated in the second half. Saka equalised in the 54th minute. Trossard scored a screamer from 25 yards to make it 2-1. Arsenal were in control. And then, in the 93rd minute, Brobby scored with an overhead kick. 2-2. Now, most people looked at that match and said, Arsenal were unlucky, Sunderland are 4th in the table. It's a good point, but that's not what I saw. What I saw was a team that couldn't kill a game when they were in front. A team that sat back instead of going for the third goal. A team that invited pressure when they should have been applying it. The same thing happened at Villa. Matty Cash gave Villa the lead in the 36th minute. Arsenal equalised through Trossard early in the second half. And then what did Arsenal do? They sat back. They tried to manage the game defensively. Villa pushed forward. Ollie Watkins tested Raya multiple times. Arsenal defended heroically, blocked shots, threw bodies in the way. And then Buendia scored in the 95th minute. Game over. Here's the fatal pattern. Arsenal's defensive system works brilliantly when they score first. They can sit back, absorb pressure, and hit on the counter. But when they're chasing or when games are level, Arsenal don't have a plan B. They don't know how to dominate and control a match when they need a goal. They default to their defensive shape and hope for another set piece. And in a title race, that's not good enough. Now, let's talk about Arsenal's biggest single problem. Everything runs through Bukayo Saka. This season, Saka has 4 goals and 1 assist in 13 Premier League matches. He's created 53 chances and is involved in over 60% of Arsenal's attacks down the right side. When Saka plays, Arsenal win or draw. When he's unavailable, Arsenal struggle. Against Liverpool in August, Saka was injured. Arsenal lost 1-0 and created almost nothing. Even in matches where Saka plays, watch what happens when he gets marked out of the game. At Villa Park, Saka started brilliantly. His cross led to Trossard's equaliser. He was Arsenal's biggest threat. But then Villa adjusted. Ian Maatsen doubled up on him. Pau Torres drifted wide to support. And suddenly, Saka couldn't create space. Arsenal's response? They had none. Martinelli on the left couldn't step up, he was isolated, got minimal service, and when he did get the ball, his decision-making was poor. Eze, the 60 million summer signing brought in to provide creativity from the left, was substituted at halftime. He'd switched off defensively for Villa's goal, and Arteta hauled him off. So Arsenal's attack became one-dimensional. Get the ball to Saka. Hope he beats his man. If he doesn't, recycle possession and try again. And that's the problem. Arsenal spent over 200 million this summer, and they're still entirely dependent on one player to create chances. Liverpool have Salah, but they also have Hakpo, Wirtz, and Szoboszlai creating. City have Haaland, but Foden, Bernardo, and Doku can also win games. Arsenal? When Saka's quiet, they're toothless. Now here's the controversial part that Arsenal fans don't want to hear. Viktor Gyökeres isn't the solution. Arsenal spent 85 million on him to be their ruthless finisher, the striker who would turn their dominance into goals. And he's scored 4 goals in 15 Premier League matches. That's decent, right? Wrong, because those 4 goals tell a very specific story. Against Leeds, he scored when Arsenal were already 3-0 up. Against Nottingham Forest, he scored in a 3-0 win. Against Burnley, he scored in a 2-0 win. Notice the pattern? Gyökeres scores when Arsenal are cruising, when the game is already won. But in tight matches, in games where Arsenal need him to be the difference, he disappears. At Villa, Arsenal had 9 shots on target. Gyökeres had 2 of them, both easily saved. In the Sunderland draw, he barely touched the ball in dangerous areas. And here's why. Gyökeres is a striker who thrives on service in behind. He wants to run onto through balls, use his pace, and finish in one-on-one situations. But Arsenal don't play that way. They play slow, possession-based football. They build through the thirds methodically. And when they get to the final third, they look for Saka to create something. Gyökeres isn't getting the service he needs. And when he drops deep to get involved, he's not clinical enough in tight spaces. So Arsenal have spent 85 million on a striker who doesn't fit their system. And they're still relying on Saka, Trossard, and set pieces to score goals. That's a massive problem. So here's the truth about Mikel Arteta's Arsenal after 5,000 minutes of analysis this season. Arsenal have built a team that looks perfect on paper. Best defence in the league. Elite midfield. A £200 million attack. But when you watch them closely, you see a team with fatal flaws that will cost them the title. They can't kill games when they're in front. The Sunderland and Villa matches prove that. When Arsenal should be going for the third goal, they sit back and invite pressure. And eventually, it costs them. They're too dependent on one player. Without Saka creating, Arsenal are predictable and toothless. And you can't win a title when your entire attack runs through one winger who can't be double marked. And their record signing doesn't fit their system. Gyökeres is a brilliant striker for the right team, but he's not the striker for Arsenal's methodical, possession-based approach. The evidence is clear. Arsenal have already dropped 7 points from winning positions this season. 7. That's the difference between being top and being third. Manchester City are only 2 points behind now, and they've been average this season. Imagine when they click into form. Liverpool are lurking, Chelsea are rising, and Arsenal? They're about to enter the busiest part of the season with the same problems unsolved. So here's my prediction. Arsenal will not win the Premier League this season. They'll stay in the race until March. They'll keep grinding out results with their elite defence. But eventually, their inability to control tight matches will catch them. They'll drop points against a mid-table team when they should win. They'll draw a game when they dominate because Saka gets marked out and nobody else steps up. They'll lose to City or Liverpool in a head-to-head, and by April, the conversation won't be about Arsenal's title challenge. It'll be about how they threw it away. Again, because that's what Arsenal do under Arteta. They get close, they look brilliant, and then the same problems surface at the worst possible time. The game at Villa wasn't the blip, it was the warning sign. And based on these 5,000 minutes, Arsenal just don't have what it takes to win this league. So that's the truth about Arteta's Arsenal after 5,000 minutes of analysis this season. But I want to know what you think. Am I being too harsh? Is their defensive record enough to carry them? Or are these cracks going to become chasms? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Arsenal fans, I know you'll disagree. Tell me why I'm wrong. If you want to see me break down exactly what Arsenal need to change in January to save this season, hit that subscribe button. That video's coming. Until then, keep watching, because this title race is about to get very interesting, and Arsenal's collapse is going to be spectacular.